Does anyone know if there's like she's saying if you reek, better chance of finding your soulmate? I'm not telling you guys to smell bad purposely. Please don't do that. That would be terrible. Unless you find some weirdo who's super attracted to smelly people, I don't know what to tell you. Please don't do that. Don't be like, you know, this girl Mary, she said if I stink, I'ma find a woman. I did not say that. But guys, someone let me know if, because I'm noticing a common occurrence about them asking animals to take pity on them. I low-key want to know what that's about. I want to know. Maybe I can search it up, or I want to know this. No. How do I delete this? Okay. I'm selling a shower discount. Let me get ChatGPT on here, because I don't have ChatGPT on here. I forget I can't do that. Where are you? Just read the message I sent you. Okay, I will later, guys. Because I want to know. This is very interesting. I keep noticing, take pity on me, take pity on me. And it's always animals that, or spirits, they're saying, take pity on me. So he said to the birds and animals and asked them to take pity on him and help him, saying that he wanted to be a warrior. He never used paint. He was a good-looking boy, and he thought it was silly for a person to paint himself. When Screech Owl was about 14, a large party of Blackfeet was starting to war against Crees. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing some of these. The boy said to his father, "Many of my cousins are joining this war party. I think I am old enough to go with them." "My son," said the father, "I am willing, you may go." Then the father gave his son his own war horse, a black horse with a white spot on its side, a very fast horse, and he offered him weapons. But the boy refused them all, except for a little trapping axe. He said, "I think this hatchet will be all that I need." Thank you so much for the TikTok. Just as they were about to start, the father gave the boy his own war headdress. This was not a war bonnet, but a plum made of small feathers, the feathers of thunderbirds, because the thunderbird was the father's medicine. The father said to the boy, "My son, when you go into battle, put this plum on your head and wear it, as I have worn it." The war party started out, traveling northeast. After a long while, they came to the I'm so sorry, guys. Saskatchewan. I'm so sorry, please. I feel so bad every time I pronounce these. River, where they saw 3 riders going out hunting. These riders had not seen the war party. The Blackfeet stopped and made plans to go around them and head off. While they were stopped, Screech Owl got down from his horse, took off all his clothes, put on his father's war plum, and began to ride around singing his father's war song. The older warriors were getting ready for this attack, and when they saw this young boy riding around them, they thought he was making fun of the older men. And they said, "Look at this boy. He has no shame. He had better stay behind." When they were ready to go, they told him to wait, and they started off to charge at the Crees. But the boy, instead of waiting behind, charged with them and took the lead. He had the best horse of all. He, a boy, was leading the war party and still singing his war song. The 3 Crees began to run, and the boy kept gaining on them. They did not want to separate. They kept together, and the boy pulled closer and closer and kept closer. Then the last one turned into his saddle and shot, but missed. As the Cree fired, the boy whipped up his horse, rode alongside the Cree, and struck him with his little trapping axe, knocked him off his horse. Screech Owl paid no attention to the man he had struck, but rode on to the next Cree. As he came up even with him, the Cree raised his gun and fired, but just then the boy dropped down the other side of his horse, and the ball passed over him. He straightened up on his horse again, rode up beside the Cree, and as he passed, knocked him off his horse with an axe. When he knocked the second Cree off his horse, the Blackfeet who were following whooped in triumph and encouraged him, shouting, Awahi. I don't even know how to say that, but yeah. The boy was still singing his father's war song. By the time the main body of the Blackfeet were catching up with him, he whipped his horse on both sides, rode on after the third Cree, who was also whipping his horse as hard as he could, trying to get away. Meanwhile, some of the Blackfeet had stopped to count and scalp the 2 dead Crees and catch the 2 horses. This is very much in action right now. As the last screech owl got close to the third Cree, who kept aiming his gun at him, the boy did not want to get too near until the Cree had fired, but he was gaining a little, and all the time he was throwing himself from side to side on his horse to make it harder for the Cree to hit him. Finally, the Cree turned, raised his gun, and fired, but the boy had thrown himself down behind his horse, and again the ball passed over him. He raised himself up on the horse, rushed on the Cree, and struck him in the side of the body with his axe, and then again. With the second blow, he knocked him off his horse. The boy rode on a little further, stopped, and jumped. So many of you guys are learning English on here is crazy. While the rest of the Blackfeet were coming up and killing the fallen man, he stood up to one side and watched them count and scalp the dead. The Blackfeet were surprised at what the young man had done. After a little while, the leader decided they would go back to camp. When they had returned, the boy's name was changed from Screech Owl to Low Horn. This was his first warpath. From that time, the name of the Low Horn was often heard as that of one doing some great deed. You're so good. Thank you, guys. I literally got made fun of someone today because I kept mispronouncing things. You read and no one talks. Good times, right? Close. Right? So, I guess, I don't know if this is a thing. Low Horn was often heard as the one of doing some great deed. Bro, saying Napoleon is crazy. Low Horn started on his warpath from the Blackfeet crossing. He led a party of 6. He was the 7th man. On the second day out, they came to Red Deer's River. When they had reached this river, they found it very high, so they built a raft to cross on. They camped on the other side. In crossing, most of their powder got wet. The next morning when they woke, Low Horn said, "Trouble is coming. We had better turn back. We started on a bad day. In my sleep, I saw our bodies lying on their dead." Some of the young men said, "We have started. We had better go on. Perhaps it is only a mistake. Let us go on and try to take some horses anyway." "True," said Low Horn. "It would be silly to try nothing. But remember that it is by your wish that we are going on." So he wanted to let him know, like, this is on your wish. Like, this is something you want, and that's what we're doing. He wanted to go back, not on his own account, but for the sake of his men, to save his followers. From there, they went on and made another camp, and the next morning he said to his men, "Now I am sure, I have seen it for certain, trouble is coming." They camped 2 nights at the place and dried some of their powder, but most of it was caked and spoiled. Low Horn said to his men, "Look, we have no ammunition. We cannot defend ourselves. Let us turn back from here." So they started cross-country for home. When they reached Red Deer's River, they camped there again. The next morning, Low Horn said, "I feel very uneasy today. 2 of you go ahead on the trail and keep a close lookout. I am afraid that today we are going to see our enemy." 2 of the young men went ahead. When they had climbed to the top